Ripple is currently worth $40 billion, a strategic $500 million investment into Ripple from Fortress and Citadel Securities. We also saw a huge announcement here. Ripple, Mastercard, WeBank, and Gemini. I have a ton of other news coming out of Swell, guys. It's going to be a completely brand new update, all new information. Let's just get right into it so you are all caught up with the news. Thank you for being here. I'm Crypto Sensei. Let's go. Ripple Swell 2025. We have closed a $500 million strategic investment at $40 billion evaluation led by Fortress Investment Group and Citadel Securities. $95 billion plus in total Ripple payments volume, $1 billion RLUSD stablecoin market cap, 6 strategic acquisitions completed in just the last 2 years, 25% of shares repurchased, 3x growth in Ripple Prime business, 75 regulatory licenses and growing. Ripple is the company that people are looking up to in the crypto space. They are reaching the top. They have been there for quite some time. In my personal opinion, it has only gotten truly incredible over the last 12 to 24 months. I can't even keep up with the news. I don't know how you are at home. I hope this channel is really helping you understand the excitement that I feel every day when I wake up to go through this news with you. And so here's Brad Garlinghouse on this latest announcement. 2025, without a doubt, has been an incredible year for Ripple and a record year for crypto as a whole. Although we have a couple months left, this announcement feels like a cherry on top of a mountain of good news. Today, we announced a $500 million investment in Ripple from Fortress Investment Group, Citadel Securities, Pantera Capital, and Galaxy HQ. Brevin, Howard, Marshall, Weiss at a $40 billion valuation. This investment isn't just a validation of Ripple's growth strategy and business built on the foundation of XRP, but it's also a clear bet on what the future of crypto will look like. I'm very proud of what we've built and all that is to come. Great to hear it, Brad. Here is that new announcement from Mastercard working with Ripple here on RLUSD. Let's get it.
This foursome right here just did an announcement that we're going to be looking at opportunities to leverage stablecoins for settlement purposes. So leveraging RLUSD on the XRP blockchain that you've heard about in ways that will enable more efficient and effective workflows between banks and card networks.
Something very important that he said there. We're going to be using RLUSD on the XRP ledger. He didn't say RLUSD on Ethereum. We want it on the XRP ledger. We need that volume. That is what we want to hear, ladies and gentlemen. That is what I am listening for. It says we are collaborating with Mastercard, WebBank, and Gemini to introduce RLUSD settlement on the XRP ledger for credit card payments, starting with Gemini XRP credit card. And it said this partnership announced that Ripple Swell brings together Ripple, Mastercard, WebBank, Gemini to introduce RLUSD stablecoin for fiat credit card payments on the XRP ledger, starting with the Gemini XRP credit card. The RLUSD stablecoin issued by Ripple and the supported by Gemini will enable faster, compliant, and transparent settlement between key financial players such as Mastercard, WebBank, and issues the Gemini credit card. And so we talked about the participants who are here already. The goal is to create a new standard for institutional settlement by leveraging blockchain to deliver quicker, more efficient payment flows, enhancing transparency, regulatory compliance, and bridging traditional financial rails with digital assets. The pilot program, this initiative begins with RLUSD settlement for Mastercard credit card transactions issued by WebBank, and with regulatory compliance and consumer protection at the center focus of this rollout. Impact for the industry. This sets a precedent for U.S. regulated banks settling mainstream card payments using a stablecoin on public blockchains, showcasing the potential for stablecoins and blockchains to modernize the financial system without disrupting the end user experience. Now, we talked about this for the last few years that financial institutions were weary to use public blockchains. That whole script has flipped. Now public blockchains are in and everybody is trying to find their own strategic partners, and we're seeing Ripple being at the center of all of this collaboration. And it says WebBank partners, this is from Chad Steingraber, Dell, PayPal, Shopify, Toast. This is more connections for this. You start to wonder, are we going to hear some other announcements, maybe from a PayPal eventually? We'll see. It says Ripple partners with Mastercard to introduce RLUSD settlement. Watch Your Guru's picking this up. And of course, the foundation of everything we do is XRP and the XRP ledger. This is a clip from Ripple Swell.
And of course, while we're building a multi-chain product, XRP plays a big role and the XRP ledger plays a big role. Yep. You maybe share a little bit more about how that is going to play into the ecosystem.
Yeah, so XRP ledger, of course, is our favorite blockchain.
Of course, yes.
Everything we do, we build on the XRP ledger. It's a multi-chain world. Ripple embraces this. We support many of the chains, but for the things that we're building natively, we really do believe that the speed, the efficiency, the cost, and the compliance of the XRP ledger is the place to build it. So that's the foundation of everything that we do. The XRP ledger itself then, of course, pretty deep liquidity between the XRP token, between RLUSD, and between some of the the other assets that have built on the XRP ledger itself. It's bringing that liquidity. We continue to invest in the XRP ledger in its utility. And as we're investing more and more in utility for financial services use case and for financial institutions, that's bringing more of the industry onto the XRP ledger. That brings more liquidity. And liquidity, of course, is a flywheel. So liquidity begets liquidity. People will come to the XRP ledger because of the liquidity. They bring their liquidity with them, and that just continues to build on itself.
Liquidity begets liquidity, and this flywheel, once it starts going, right, once you get it to go, it'll start speeding up, and that's where we can truly start to get to this utility point. Here's some like additional announcements. Of course, Ripple Prime was unveiled, marking Ripple's entry. So these are additional announcements as well. I just wanted to make sure that you understood that. Ripple Prime was unveiled, marking Ripple's entry into institutional prime brokerage, enabling compliant spot and digital asset trading for major financial institution players. RLUSD expansion. Ripple is integrating RLUSD deeper into the ecosystem for treasury operations with on-demand liquidity, especially with G Treasury, which is 10 trillion to about 13 trillion I've seen. Institutional partnership and acquisitions. Ripple announced major acquisitions, including Palisade to enhance custody and wallet infrastructure for institutional clients. We did cover all of this a few days ago. The company's push into institutional grade solutions to reinforce by securing over 75 global regulatory licenses. BlackRock, NASDAQ, Fortress Investment Group appeared on stage, reinforcing mainstream adoption and providing clarity and institutional capital flows into blockchain assets. You also had a great conversation with the CEO of the NASDAQ, Adina Friedman, and Monica Long. I went through the whole interview, gave you my feedback. NASDAQ CEO confirmed 17 IPOs are ready for approval post-US government shutdown. Ripple closed $500 million in funding. We talked about that. XRP ETF buzz was heightened and continued speculation and attention. We should get those over the next few weeks here. A lot of things happening. Monica Long did say 13 years of the XRP ledger. We reached 100 million ledgers closed. This is a milestone moment. Please take a moment to take that in and how far we've come over the last several years. I did a complete breakdown. You're going to get this before this video comes out, probably. I'm going to try to get this done out as soon as quickly as possible, guys. Like I said, I've done maybe about 12 or 13 videos now in the last 2 days alone. So my team is working full time to try to get this content to you. But here's a great clip out of the interview that Crypto America did. This is Eleanor Tarrant and her team interviewing Brad Garlinghouse. This was just today. This was a great interview. Go watch that video where I go through all of the clips, the best clips. You're going to really, really open your eyes to what maybe some of the things that Brad Garlinghouse went through with the SEC trial, what his thoughts on the XRP are, but like all kinds of really incredible things. It was a very touching and moving interview. I'm an emotional person. I try not to get too emotional. It was really powerful for me to listen to, but here's a great clip for it.
Brad, there's been a debate recently on crypto Twitter. I'm sure you've seen some of it play out about XRP's use case now that Ripple does have RLUSD as its stablecoin, and you're branching out from cross-border payments into other areas. Yeah. You know, you recently did say in a tweet, XRP sits at the center of everything Ripple does. Can you kind of explain what you meant by that?
Well, I think people, I don't understand this, but well, first of all, I think we can all agree there's a lot of misinformation and sometimes disinformation in crypto Twitter. That's not great for anybody. I sometimes think people like to paint a picture that is somehow like Ripple's given up on XRP.
Right.
That just doesn't make sense for a whole bunch of reasons. I mean, one is
clear it up.
Well, for me, that tweet was trying to like, let's just be very clear. When we think about, and as I said earlier, when we think about G Treasury, okay, so Ripple wants to be as a treasury management infrastructure player, we now can introduce things like Ripple payments. Ripple payments, some of those go through stablecoins, some of them goes through XRP. And that depends upon corridor, that depends upon currency pair. That, you know, we want to deliver the best possible product to a customer at the best price. And sometimes that may be a stablecoin, sometimes it may not. And people, I mean, frankly, something that's not widely known for your audience. There was a period of time, first part of 2023, Ripple was minting 20% of all USDC.
Crazy, right?
That's because we were doing institutional payment flows and we used...
And this is why RLUSD was born. Imagine that. There was a time in not too recent memory that Ripple was minting 20% of USDC in existence, right? Ripple was helping to build Circle's business, and Ripple was like, hey, we should launch our own technology because we're going to be using this on a massive scale. We need to have an in-house product. We need to have a solution so banks can come to us and say, hey, we like what you're doing with RLUSD. We want to have our own stablecoin. Can you help us develop and build that? And that is exactly the conversations that Ripple is having behind the scenes. Wait for the announcements. You know, when you just know something is coming in your heart and your soul, you've done all of the research, you've put the time in, you understand as many things as you can, you know that some stablecoin announcements are coming from some of the largest banks in the world. I'm just waiting for them.
USDC. We also used USDT. We also used XRP. I don't look at the world and say, well, we are not XRP maximalists. There's going to be different chains for different solutions and different technologies. I think we have to start, and I mean this for, when I say we, I mean the whole crypto industry has to start with what problem and for what customer are we solving? If we just try to, it's like, hey, I have a technology and I just want to apply it to a customer. It's like, well, a customer doesn't think about it that way. A customer has a problem. How do we apply the right technologies? Yeah. XRP is very scalable, very fast, and very inexpensive on a per transaction basis. That makes it good for some things and probably less good for other things. That's okay. And Ripple will use other technologies in those situations. But if Ripple can go from, managing tens of billions of dollars of payment transactions to hundreds of billions of dollars of payments transactions to trillions of dollars, and if XRP doesn't have 100% of that pie, but is still the pie is growing very quickly, like that's great. I'm happy. That's a really good place to be.
Let's go.
So do you guys see? Does that clear it up, Ellie?
Oh, it clears it up. Right. We'll see what the XRP. Do we call them? Do we call them Army anymore? I don't know.
Community. We tried to rebrand family.
Okay, we'll see what they say.
You know what? I kind of
it's more peaceful time.
I kind of come around to I love the XRP Army. I mean, look, we were attacked, and I don't just mean by the SEC. There are those who are maximalists of their particular religion. I respect that as long as people are being constructive and honest and not spreading disinformation. I'm like, okay, fair enough. We can disagree. I try genuinely to support, and I think the whole industry benefits if we kind of get behind the whole industry. Instead of fighting about how big my piece of the pie is, let's think about how big the pie is.
XRP Army, XRP family, XRP community, whatever it is, I'm thankful to be on this journey with you. You are my people out in the world, and it's an absolute honor to spend this time with you, to go through this news with you, to learn and build our knowledge every single day. It means the world to me. So thank you guys. All right. And so we got some news here from Franklin Templeton. They just filed an Amendment 3 for its Franklin XRP Trust. Spot XRP ETF aiming to trade on the New York Stock Exchange. ACRA holds XRP directly. Custodies Coinbase Trust. Uses CME XRP USD benchmark for pricing. 0.19% sponsor fee waived into the first $5 billion into 2026. Guys, we are gonna get some juice. All right. And then Michael Arrington here. Michael Arrington is the founder of TechCrunch, Crunchbase, and Arrington Capital, early investor in Ripple and XRP. And I says, I don't think very many people understand how big of a deal Ripple Prime is. It's not only going to be a huge business, it gives hedge funds like us unparalleled new tools to engage with markets. Getting onboarded has been one of our highest priorities at Arrington Capital for the last few months. This puts pressure on other hedge funds. Now that Arrington Capital is going to have all of this utility for their capital, they're going to be able to grow and build even more. This is going to put pressure, maybe pressure is the wrong word, but it will put pressure on other hedge funds to follow suit. Because if you are competing against other hedge funds, and now this hedge fund has all of this new technology to take their business to the next level, and you're still dealing with these old legacy systems, where does that put your hedge fund? You got to start thinking, like a CEO here. All of these companies, financial institutions, banks, corporates, whatever it is, they're all now racing to build and partner with the best technology in the planet. And that best technology is XRP. All right, guys, I'll leave it there. Spicy. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you in the next one. I'm Crypto Sensei. Peace. Nothing in this video should be taken as financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. I am not a financial advisor. Please seek financial advice if you need it. Let's get back to the video.